My wife and mother-in-law returned from their trip, but instead of coming home, they headed straight to the doctor. When the doctor stepped out, my father-in-law and I accidentally overheard something that left us stunned. My name is Dennis Holbrook, a 40-year-old butcher from Millfield, Ohio. For 12 years, I've run the most popular meat market in 3 counties, built from scratch with hard work and fair prices. My dry-aged steaks and homemade sausages draw customers from 40 miles away. I married Tanya Fuller 15 years ago when I was 25 and she was 20. With her honey blonde hair and radiant smile, she was the prettiest girl in town. Her parents, Vernon and Marlene, seemed like solid, God-fearing folks. Vernon owned the hardware store and Marlene worked at the church. I thought I knew my family. I was wrong. The trouble began on a Tuesday in March. I was breaking down a side of beef in my shop when Tanya approached with a rehearsed air. "Dennis, honey," she said, fidgeting with her wedding ring. "Mom and I are thinking about a girls' trip to Florida. Mom's stressed with Dad's blood pressure issues." Her eyes avoided mine, her tone too casual. "How long?" I asked. "A week, maybe 10 days, she replied, mentioning a Clearwater resort. Something felt off, but I agreed. Vernon's health issues were real, and Marlene might need a break. "Go have fun," I said, ignoring the unease in my gut. The week they were gone was quiet. I kept busy at the shop, but the house felt emptier than ever. When Tanya and Marlene returned on Sunday, their secretive whispers and forced smiles confirmed my suspicions. Tanya's hug was stiff, her enthusiasm about Florida hollow. Marlene chimed in nervously, thanking me for letting them go. Then came the bombshell. They wanted to see a doctor for routine checks after the trip. Tanya claimed it was standard, but in 15 years, she'd never done this. Their quick glances and evasive answers deepened my distrust. The next morning, Vernon stopped by the shop, a rare occurrence. "Don't you think it's odd they're rushing to a doctor?" he asked, rubbing his jaw. Marlene, he said, was never one for medical visits unless critical. We decided to follow them to Dr. Brennan's clinic. Sitting in the waiting room, we overheard the doctor. "Given the circumstances of conception, we'll need tests for both patients, a mother and daughter in this situation. Then, they're both pregnant by the same man." My world shattered. Vernon's face went white. Tanya and Marlene emerged freezing when they saw us. Tanya's weak denial, "You misunderstood," crumbled under our insistence. Back home, their lies unraveled. Tanya admitted they didn't go to Florida, but to Las Vegas to meet a man named Marcus Webb. Marlene confessed they'd been talking to him online for months. He was sophisticated, successful, unlike us boring small-town men. Both were pregnant by him. Vernon and I were stunned, betrayed by the women we loved. Tanya's defiance by "we're getting divorced anyway" cut deep. She'd decided months ago without a word. Determined to confront Marcus, I got his number from Tanya and called. His smooth voice denied knowing her, but I wasn't fooled. With help from my friend Jake, who had a knack for digging up dirt, I learned Marcus Weber was a serial predator with a wife, Sandra, and 2 kids in Cincinnati. He'd faced paternity suits from 3 women, all dropped when he vanished. Armed with his address, Vernon and I drove to Cincinnati. Sandra, 8 months pregnant, was devastated to learn of Marcus's affairs. She showed us photos of him with Tanya and Marlene in Las Vegas. Furious, she vowed to testify against him. Back home, Tanya and Marlene refused to cooperate with the police. Tanya, still protecting Marcus, grabbed her purse and left with Marlene, fleeing the truth. 3 months later, Marcus was arrested for bigamy, fraud, and identity theft, exposed as a con artist with multiple wives. Tanya and Marlene vanished to Atlanta, raising their children alone after Marcus's financial support dried up. I didn't pity them. They'd made their choices. 6 months later, I'd sold the house, finalized the divorce, and opened a new butcher shop. Business boomed, partly because my story drew curious customers. Vernon sold his store and moved to Florida, reconnecting with an old flame. We met weekly for coffee, finding solace in our shared loss. Peace of mind became my greatest treasure, worth more than a marriage built on lies. One evening, a woman named Rachel entered my shop asking about smoking a brisket. Her honest eyes and calloused hands hinted at a kindred spirit. We talked for 20 minutes, and when she left with my number, I smiled for the first time in months. Rachel was everything Tanya wasn't: loyal, genuine, and interested in building something real. Sometimes losing everything clears the way for something better.